Georgia Virtue presents the Let Me Tell You Why You're Wrong podcast. Thank you for downloading episode 333. This week we have Kammy's speech, turncoats, kissing and making up, the Kennedy suspension, rates a dropping, jobs? What jobs? Things get bad fast on Big Water, a sad day in Paulding, and the mayor who should not have. I'm Dave Roberts. With me is my partner in this endeavor, Commissioner-elect Ken Pullen.
Man, what a great week from a weather perspective. Was it not great when you walked outside this week?
Oh, yeah.
Is everybody looking forward to the fall at this point? I know it's only August, but I hope this was a preview of September.
Fast fall.
And I know the show's going to drop on Monday, but Georgia Tech plays FSU, or will have played FSU, so this kicks off college football season.
What time is that? Or what should I say, what time was it if we're thinking forward?
Well, they're playing in Ireland, so I think it's like a noontime game.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's early. I think Georgia Tech's going to have a really good year. My daughter wants to go to Georgia Tech next year for college, so I'm not that I'm off the Georgia bandwagon, but I'm definitely pulling for Tech to have a good year.
Well, there's a couple of true things. Well, you know I'm a Gator, so I like anybody who plays FSU. There's a couple true things. One is rivalries are better when they are not one-sided.
Yeah.
So when you see Georgia, pretty much they don't circle the date they're going to play Georgia Tech, which is traditionally the last day of the season. They already know. Like, unless something really happens, we're going to roll in there.
Yeah, I know. They have for quite a while. I think it's going to be different this year. Georgia Tech's got a good quarterback. I mean, Georgia's loaded from top to bottom, but Georgia Tech's, they can have a good team this year. We'll see.
It's whether it's Georgia, Florida, or it's Michigan, Ohio State, or anybody like that. You don't want it to be one-sided for decades on end. It's just not fun. You don't sell tickets that way, and you don't get eyeballs on TV that way. When they look at University of Florida, SEC teams look at us right now like we're Appalachian State. Yes, an upset can happen every once in a while.
Right, but it's not. Yeah, it's not going to be a good game 90% of the time.
Well, yeah, I remember who Florida was playing when we had two players blocking each other on a play. Like, what the hell are you thinking?
And the Falcons start soon. I guess the NFL kicks off in a couple of weeks also. I haven't looked at the official date, but I know it's kicking off soon.
And I haven't even gotten my fantasy team together yet.
Yeah, I don't do fantasy. I just can't keep up with it. It's too much.
It is, especially on your schedule.
Yeah, actually, the Falcons play tonight at home. So there's only three preseason games now. So this is the last preseason weekend. And then they start September the 8th at home as their first game. It's against the Steelers. That'll be a good one. Yeah, so it's just a good time of the year. I love it when football season kicks around. Weather gets cooler. You got deer season. People go dove hunting. It's
Christmas Eve for men.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I love this time of year.
Look, the first day of baseball season, opening day, I love. Because we've gone through a drought since, the Super Bowl, and we had that drought, and then opening day comes. I'll lead off right around my birthday. I was born April 4th. So it comes right around my birthday. So it's all right. That's now we're excited. Plus I'm coming into my seasons getting to be spring. And then what do we get for games in April? We get players in jackets and sleeves because they're playing places like Chicago.
Yeah. The Braves are still 6 games back at this point, but they have won 7 out of 10. I don't know what they are from a wild card perspective. I guess they're on the edge of the wild card getting in. So yeah, it's getting that point in time where it's really nice weather to get to a Braves game, I'll say.
The last couple of years, Braves ran away with it and fumbled screwed up in the playoffs, not getting out of their first round. They had to obviously get through the first round because they had a bye. But the best record in baseball hasn't worked for them the last couple of years. Let's try getting a little scrappy.
Yeah, I think the teams going into the playoffs that are on fire usually do better. I think it's tough to go into the playoffs. Winning your division, downshifting. Yeah, I think that's always been tough. And
that's always been a debate. Because if you're snit, you can't win.
No, you can't.
If you run away with it,
either decision you'll get criticized for.
Yeah, you shut down your players, you get criticized. If you play like your hair's on fire and keep going, you get criticized if someone gets injured, and that's just part of the game. And sometimes it looks like Acuna is made out of glass.
Yep.
If anybody's noticed my inadequacies, I went to the hospital last week. I picked up a stutter that I've never had before, and it was bad. I couldn't get a sentence out. And I was talking to a buddy of mine on the phone, and he goes, "I'm calling Connie right now." And she came home, picked me up, and I got to spend 24 hours at Wellstar Paulding. And spend $100,000, CT, MRI,
jeez,
echocardiogram.
They figure out what's wrong with you?
No, but it's not a stroke. It could have been a bug, and it's been improving. So if I stumble over stuff, that's what it is. So sorry to anybody who has to listen to it. So Kammy made Trump the incumbent last week. That's a hell of a move.
That's kind of an interesting headline too. I wonder if I was wondering if people catch up what I mean. It's sort of the candidates have sort of been Trump's running against the incumbent Biden. As soon as Biden drops out, Kamala is the incumbent. She's sort of flipping a switch on Trump at this point. And she's acting like she's some new person coming in. It's kind of like Obama back in whenever he ran the first time in 2008, I guess.
Yep.
But she's almost acting like all the problems that her administration has created over the last 4 years, she's just going to magically come in and fix now. So she's really kind of flipped the script of saying where Trump was running against Biden, incumbency, how bad they've been. She's sort of running saying, hey, let me and I'll fix all these problems without really realizing that she caused a lot of the problems. It's very interesting.
No, she knows it. Well, her team
does, but yeah, I mean, definitely her team knows it, but this is kind of an interesting campaign strategy. She, I don't know if you watched any of the DNC last week. I watched maybe 10 minutes at times. I watched a few minutes of Kamala's speech. Well,
I couldn't find the remote, so Wall's speech was on in the hospital room when I got in there.
Yeah, he's really he's a dork. I mean, as bad as I think J.D. Vance has been from a Trump perspective, and I like J.D. Vance. I think he's a good guy, good policy guy. Like this Waltz guy is a walking nightmare. I even had a guy, one of my friends on Facebook, Democrat friends, said that Kemp basically enacted the same lockdown policies that Waltz did up in Minnesota, which I call BS on. I don't know about you, but Georgia didn't have a hotline where people could call in and report their neighbors for having outside get-togethers. And that's what he did during COVID. I mean, they literally had a hotline for people to call in and report people getting together, like family members getting together in their backyard. So, yeah,
it's not even close.
No, it's not close at all.
First of all, I never locked down. Connie and I had to go to work.
Yeah, I did too. I never missed a day of work. Yeah, unless it was vacation. But, I mean, where were you going to go on vacation during COVID?
Well, we went to the Keys. We're supposed to be in Paris.
Yeah, we did. We did move our working arrangement to the beach. So,
yeah, we had tickets bought, hotels hammered down. Didn't buy train tickets yet, but we're going to do Paris, Normandy, take the Channel up to London for a couple of days, and come back through Charles de Gaulle.
Yep.
And canceled all that. It was one of those things where with the lockdown, April-ish, March-ish, we start hearing about it, right? And it's going to be, it'll be over in a couple of weeks. It'll be over in a couple of weeks. And, 4 years later, they still pop up with stories on COVID.
I know.
But back on Kammy,
Yeah, her speech was interesting, though.
I did see a comedian comment on how good she is at the smiling, pointing, and waving.
Yeah, she did do that well. Yes. I mean, the thing is, she said, and this was a quote, "Our nation with this election has a precious, fleeting opportunity to move past the bitterness, cynicism, and divisive battles of the past, a chance to chart a new way forward, not as members of any party or faction, but as Americans." So she's playing the Obama card when he said, we're not Democrats or Republicans, we're Americans. She's sort of going at it in that same way. Now, the whole thing is garbage, right? I mean, she's the biggest lefty out there and hates Republicans, but she's literally trying to say we're just Americans out there and we're not divided. We need to move past this divided nature. That's crazy that she's saying that, but there could be some middle of the road people that buy into that, and that's what they're. I saw a stat the other day. Literally, her and Trump are going after about 80,000 people at the moment. I mean, that's. I think Georgia's back in play, but in these other states, they're literally going after 5,000 to 10,000 votes in each state.
Yeah, she's kind of stepping on herself with some of these interviews where she's trying to pull the Hillary thing with the hot sauce.
Oh, she's got a different accent. She's got a different
people
one.
People ask her to make
greens
for Christmas.
Yep.
And I'm like, you grew up in Canada.
Yep.
You came of age in California, not exactly a hotbed for greens. I'm not saying you don't eat collard greens, but we had so many, had to wash them in the bathtub. I'm like, first of all, you better make sure your tub is clean.
Yep.
Before putting my food in there for prep.
Yep. And then she said, I promise to be a president for all Americans to hold sacred America's constitutional principles. Does she know what our constitutional principles are? Because if she did, she wouldn't be going after the Supreme Court, wanting to, increase the number of justices, put them on term limits. So obviously she doesn't understand constitutional principles at all. And she's going to the Supreme Court for overturning Roe v. Wade, which, again, a third branch of government overturned that and sent it back to the states where it belonged. It never belonged at the federal level. So obviously
it was misinterpreted to begin with. It was a case about patient privacy.
Yeah, so she obviously doesn't understand constitutional principles. And then she said, just imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails and how he would use the immense powers of the presidency of the United States, not to improve your life, not to strengthen our national security, but to serve only the client he has ever had himself. So she kind of, it was only a 40-minute speech, which I give her credit for not speaking, 2 hours in this speech. But she started off talking about her background and where she came from and her mom and dad to, kind of going after Trump at the end. Yes,
they were obsessed with saying the word Trump.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
All week. I mean, I can't remember what Bobby said. It was like 147 times the first night mentioned Trump.
And then, some of her proposals.
They are running.
Yeah, go ahead.
They're running Biden's campaign.
Yeah, they're running a happier Biden's campaign. I mean, I don't think I've heard them say Trump is a threat to democracy as much as Biden did, because Biden was kind of angry when he said that. I think they're running a sort of a happy-go-lucky, Trump's a bad guy, but vote for us because we're going to move past all this. We're going to, join the nation together, and we're all going to get out and hold hands and skip rope.
Yeah, joy, happiness.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, look, as dumb as most voters are, and they are dumb. Let's don't act like voters are smart.
I know they elected you twice.
Yeah, exactly. But seriously, I mean, will it work or not? I guess is the question. We got 84 days left until the election.
And what did Carlin say? Try to picture how dumb the average person is. Now imagine half of the people are dumber than that guy.
I know.
And that's not a direct quote. I don't have it in front of me, but that's true.
Yep.
So when you come out with the peace and joy and all this stuff, it's the same idiots back in the 60s that thought that we could end wars by just stop fighting.
I know. And she has been drilled on a couple of her policies. So if you go to Kamala's website right now, there's no policies on her website. And she's literally, even in a speech last night, talked about no policies. But a couple came out last week. She said she wanted to go after the grocery stores basically for price gouging, which is incredible that she thinks grocery stores are out there gouging people in prices. I mean, they make 1% to 2% a year. She also says she wanted to go after unrealized capital gains. If people don't know what that means if you buy stock for $100, it goes up to $200 without you selling. She wants to tax you on that unrealized gain that you've got, even though that stock may go straight back down to $100. So she says she wants to do that for the rich people because they're not paying any taxes, but she wants to tax unrealized capital gains. That's not sitting well. And she also wants to go up on a corporate income tax, like I think it's 30% plus. But I'm not sure if the average person cares or can actually understand grocery stores are not price gouging, right? Or do most people look at grocery stores and not realize they only make 1% a year and actually think Kamala's going to go after them and make them go down on the price of bread or beef or whatever? Yeah, people are mad, right? And they
see it every week. And who she's speaking to are the typically soccer moms, even though I'm the person in our family that goes to the grocery store.
But I don't blame the grocery store for that.
The same thing when they look at gas prices. They get mad at the people in gas stations. They make nothing on gas.
Yeah, right. So,
now
I'm not blaming
it. They make a killing on selling you a can of Coke for $3.
$2 or $3. Yep.
Yeah, and Quick Trip and Racetrack make a killing off the roller dogs and all that stuff. That's where they make their money. The gas is just to get you in the door.
Yeah. And then one more thing. Yeah, I was going to say one more thing about the convention. At least they were up there. Planned Parenthood was providing vasectomies last week. So hopefully as many Democrats at the DNC got a vasectomy last week so they could not procreate. So I thought that was good news that Planned Parenthood was doing that in Chicago. Hopefully,
there's all sorts of weird stuff that went on in Chicago.
Yeah, so hopefully a lot of men participated in that.
The one win, speaking of people with testosterone, men with testosterone and women with chutzpah, is the Chicago PD kept that stuff under wraps. They had a safe convention, and these police officers don't like Kammy at all.
No. And there was a lot of Palestinian protesters last week, the anti-Israel protesters, but it seemed like nothing ever really got out of hand with that. I just saw all the images and videos of the protesters.
And 7 Republicans, including former Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan, spoke at the DNC.
I know. This guy just will not go away. So he spoke. Adam Kinzinger, which was a former congressman from Ohio, spoke. Their message is, and this is what Duncan said, if Republicans are being intellectually honest with ourselves, our party is not civil or conservative. It's chaotic and crazy, and the only thing left to do is dump Trump. Kinzinger,
that's the only thing left?
Yeah. And look, this is where Duncan is just off the rails. Kinzinger said the same thing. He said, if you vote for Kamala in 2024, you're not a Democrat, you're a patriot, prompting chants of USA, USA. Again, we beat this dead horse to a pulp. Even if you're a Republican, you don't like Trump, you don't have to vote on Kamala. You can just sit back and not vote. But to just say, when you vote on Kamala, you're saying, I support her policies. And I know Jeff doesn't support Kamala's policies, but he's so angry at Trump, he can't do anything else.
He should be angry at himself.
Be angry,
He committed unforced errors. He abused his office, and nothing really came of that. But using an expense account, I can't remember where he was off to, he was going on stuff like that.
Yeah, it was all kind of stuff going on. But yeah, it's amazing that and most people don't know this, Jeff Duncan was one of the most conservative members in the House when he was there. So then he goes to lieutenant governor, and actually, decent lieutenant governor for 4 years. But he got hurt when Trump left, and Trump did what he did, and now he's just gone full Kamala at this point. And look, I also think Jeff is an opportunistic guy. I think he sees the dollar signs for doing this. He's in DC. I'm sure they paid him to come up there. He's getting paid to go CNN all the time. So I think he also sees the dollars of being like this Republican guy that now is supporting the Democrats.
You have to be careful when handling snakes.
Yeah, 100%.
If you're gonna play with snakes, you got to be careful because it's quite likely you're going to get bit.
Yep.
And he may be loving the sunshine right now, but CNN, PMSNBC, and the rest of them will turn on him in a heartbeat.
They'll put him out of pasture in a second.
Once they
don't need him any longer, he'll be done. Yeah, he'll be 100% done.
November 9th, they will crumple him up like tissue paper and throw him away.
I think what's going to be so interesting moving forward, though, is Kamala still has not done a press conference. She still has not answered questions about her policy. Like I said earlier, her policy is not on her website. At some point, she's either going to keep running this campaign where she just does not talk to the media and answer questions, or she's going to have to actually say what she's about. Now, I think if she's smart, she just never talks to the media. I mean, it's kind of the Biden campaign 4 years ago where he just holed up in his basement, and that's how he ran. And I think Kamala's doing the same thing. Speeches. Yeah, canned speeches. I think that's what she plans on doing until November. And look, early voting starts 87 days or 85 days to election, whatever it is. Early voting starts in 2 months. I mean, we're getting really close to early voting.
Let it be over.
Yeah, November can't get here soon enough.
Well, Trump made up with Brian.
Yeah, so this happened last Thursday, I guess. Governor Kemp, he went on a Hannity show, and he talked with Hannity. He said, "We've got to win. We have to win for the top of the ticket down." I have been saying constantly for a long time, we cannot afford another 4 years of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And I think Kamala Harris and Tim Walz is going to be even worse. So, look, Trump came into town 2 or 3 weeks ago and blasted Kemp. Kemp goes on Fox News with Hannity. He says all this stuff, good stuff, like we've got to win. So, look, I give it to Governor Kemp. He could have tucked tail and ran and said, screw Trump. I'm governor of Georgia. I'm probably going to be senator in 2 years. He has stayed in the fight. He's still supporting Trump. And as soon as he did this, right after this, of Kemp appearing on Hannity last Thursday, Trump came out and said in a Truth Social post that he wanted to thank the governor for all his help and support in Georgia, where a win is so important to the success of our party and more important to our country. I look forward to working with you and your team. So, I mean, this is Jekyll and Hyde again, right? I mean, 3 weeks ago, you were bashing Kemp as a bad guy and average governor, and now you're praising him. So obviously somebody got to Trump and said, you need to get off your high horse with Governor Kemp. You need to make up. Georgia's in play now, and you can't keep this battle going. So, look, good for Trump.
This is the problem with Trump, period. Yeah. It's such hot and cold. Is you're a horrible person, then they bend the knee. Greatest guy always ever. Loved him. Always loved him. We've always worked well together. I look forward. Why would a presidential candidate and former president leave it up to the governor to be the statesman?
Yep.
According to the Hatch Act, the president and vice president are the only ones who can speak on behalf of the United States and to foreign governments or representatives thereof. Obviously, Secretary of State and all that stuff as far as policy goes. So Trump is supposed to be the statesman here, and he's not. He could have come to Georgia and said,
"Oh yeah, the time to be the statesman would have been 3 weeks ago, not
right."
Last night.
He and I had our differences in the past, but we're moving forward, and I appreciate the governor's support, that kind of stuff. He could have been gracious about it. See, I didn't like the outcome, and the fact that they're focusing on Georgia when even if we were to take the electoral votes and give it to Trump, he still would have won.
Yep. Yeah,
he's going to every one of these days. He's going to Arizona and bashing everybody in Arizona. No, for some reason he's fixated on Kemp.
Yep. No, he wouldn't have won even with Georgia's vote. So, look, I'm glad that, end of the day, I'm glad they made up. Trump's got to have Georgia. I was getting a little worried because I had friends coming up to me that I know we're still voting on Donald Trump, but they were really upset with him for bashing Governor Kemp. And it's enthusiasm that lends to less enthusiasm, less getting their friends out to vote, less money coming into the machine. And at least he's made up now. I'm not sure he's made up with average voters in Georgia, but at least he came out publicly and made up with Governor Kemp.
Yeah, it's a strategic move for Kemp, too, because he doesn't want to lose the MAGA. Because if he loses the MAGA section of Georgia, he's not going to win. He's not going to win a Senate seat.
Right. Exactly.
He has to have both factions. I say both. It's more of a spectrum of factions that are out there. But you have to have the Big Tent. You have to have the Reagan coalition, the Reagan Democrats. You got to be able to pull people over to your side, just like he did running against Stacey Abrams. Was nobody wanted her?
No.
So Bobby Jr. has suspended his political campaign.
Yeah, this happened last Friday. So independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. suspended his campaign. It sounds like I didn't watch his speech when he suspended his campaign, but it sounds like he endorsed President Trump at that point.
backhanded way from way I just watched it. I haven't really read through anything, but sort of a backhanded way where he said, I'll still be on the ballot. What I thought was funny is first thing he says, if you're in a blue state, feel free to vote for me. My name will be on the ballot.
So California, vote for me. Georgia, vote for President Trump, basically, is the message.
He said if you're Republican, if you're in a red state, you can still vote for me. But first of all, he looks great. I like the suit tie combination that he had. It was blue,
the skinny tie,
more narrow lapels, and I know what he's doing. He's going after the look of the Kennedys. That's the way his father dressed and his uncle dressed, and nobody wants to look like Teddy.
Yeah, I did see that his family members came out right afterwards and released a statement on Twitter that they said they never supported him being in the race, and now they don't support him endorsing President Trump. Like, who cares what the Kennedys think? I think he was a protest vote to most people anyway. I mean, did he really have a big following versus some Democrats that didn't want to vote for Biden that said, hey, we're just going to vote for Kennedy and protest? I'm not sure how this is going to shake out with him suspending.
I don't know. He seems pretty angry about the DNC not even allowing him a chance to run against Biden.
Right. And look, he's got a grievance there because there was another guy, that was trying to run against Biden too, and they wouldn't let him on any. His name was Dean something. I can't remember Dean's last name, but like that, political parties should not block people from running for office. Georgia, there were Republicans up in North Georgia that tried to do it this time around, where they said there's a accountability rule, and they try to block people from running for county commissioner. The local party did. Like, parties cannot get into a business of picking who and who can't get on a ballot. If you say I'm a Republican, you get on a ballot, right? If I'm a Democrat, I get on a ballot. Unless we completely do away with state-funded primaries, and then it's a whole different topic.
That was my next thought, was as long as my tax dollars are paying for the elections.
Right, exactly.
And in primaries specifically, as long as my tax dollars are paying for it.
Yeah, the ballots, it's got to be open.
Yeah, and you sign a loyalty oath when you run for office.
Exactly.
Whether a Republican or Democrat, you sign a loyalty oath and all that stuff. So I didn't think it was right for them to push Kennedy out. I think a lot of people were kind of didn't really like his thing on vaccines.
Yeah, but at least let him go against Biden. At least have a primary. Just like the other guy they pushed out, that Dean Chrisman or whatever his name was. I mean, they should have allowed these people to have a primary.
A Kennedy-Trump election would be interesting. They both say crazy stuff, so seeing them both on the debate stage would be fairly interesting. All right, so as we continue on with the election fun, interest rates are look like they're about to be cut just in time for the election.
Yeah, it does look like that. So Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell laid the groundwork last Friday for interest rate cuts ahead, although he declined to provide exact indications or timing. He said the time has come for policy to adjust. The direction of travel is clear, and the timing and pace of rate cuts will depend on income data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risk. I think the market, I was watching CNBC this morning, it sounds like the market has already priced in a 50 basis point cut sometime in September, and then maybe another cut before the end of the year. So it does sound like people that borrow money or need to buy houses, or if you hang on just a little bit, the rate's going to be better towards the end of the year.
Well, it doesn't help the mortgages.
No, I mean, it's anything, right? It's credit card balances.
But mortgages are related to the T-bills.
Yeah.
So the market drives mortgages. So with the interest rates, yes, car loans. Who's going to love it? Detroit is going to love it.
Yep.
Because they can't charge $120,000 for a decent. Well, I say decent, very nice pickup truck, but $120.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then charge you 10% interest. And the only way they have to sell it is we'll finance you for 7, 8, 9, 10 years.
Yep. And what they were trying to do, last year, what they were trying to do is they were trying to make it painful. So they were trying to not put the economy into a recession But they were trying to slow down the job growth, which we'll talk about that in a minute, which is what they successfully did. And then they were trying to, cut inflation back, which supposedly inflation's been cut back somewhere in the threes. And then at that point, once they had those kind of, those indicators were going in the right direction, they said, well, now it's time to adjust policy. Look, it's also very convenient here at the end of the year because think if he cuts rates by a half or 50 basis points to 100, it's just going to look better, right? The economy is going to start performing better. Again, I hope the Federal Reserve Chair is not too political, but it sure feels like there's some political maneuvering going on at this point.
To say they're apolitical, yes and no. They're all elites. You don't get on the Fed board
100%.
without being an elite.
Elites. Yep.
You can't look at people and go, we need to lose 1 million jobs, and go, that's 1 million people that are going to have to go on the dole. No, that's not those. That's them being elites. Yes, yep. They're absolutely political once they close the doors. They're supposed to be apolitical in that they operate independently of the executive branch, but they view themselves as the fourth branch of government.
Yep.
Like, okay, you control the courts, you control the laws, you execute the laws, and by the way, we control the money, so you can't do anything without us.
Yep.
I can't say that I mind seeing interest rates come down a little bit, but people think that they're going to see mortgage rates drop by 50 basis points or 100. That's just not how it works. The only way you get that is people moving money out of T-bills and into the market. And what's going to kill that is Cammy's view on capital gains. So you're going to leave something. You'll see people
pay 20,
pulling out of that.
Yep.
Pulling out of the market and pushing their money into other vehicles, life insurance vehicles, things like that. So as to keep it out of quote unquote the market, because you don't want to get hammered. If you do well, you're going to lose half of it.
Yep.
All right, jobs. 818,000 were miscounted.
About that. So between March 2023 and March 2024. The government said that they overstated the job growth by 818,000. If you remember, all during that period of time, the Biden administration and the Harris administration were talking about how many jobs they were building or how many jobs they were bringing back. Never mind, these were COVID-related jobs mainly that were coming back.
And government
jobs. But at this point, they actually overstated by almost 1 million that number of jobs were being created. Yeah, so it feels like the Biden-Harris administration are really cooking the books and making them look a lot better to make themselves look better and to pat themselves on the back.
The Commerce Secretary that says, I don't believe those numbers, and the interviewer, to her credit, I think this was CNN, it's like, they're the administration's numbers, not Trump's.
Right, exactly. Yeah, this is the largest revision of jobs in the past 15 years, too. This is a big boo-boo, right? I mean, to miss by almost 1 million over a year, that is a big deal. But yeah,
you're going to see the numbers drop again this month.
Oh yeah, they'll restate them again. And economists had been warning that something's not right about the numbers.
The other thing is, where are your kids right now?
School.
Right. Summer jobs are out.
Yeah, right.
Well, your son, given college schedules, may or may not be in class.
He's probably not in class at this point. Yeah, it's amazing what college schedules are like.
But so we're going to see the natural drop in that. And then as we come up to the election, as November, we're going to see the jobs number come back up. What happens? All these college kids go ahead and start putting applications in for those holiday jobs, the Christmas jobs. So as we start coming into November, we may very well see adding of jobs, and people who vote in November and don't vote early, they're going to see the economic news that jobs are added. The market's going to react the way it does with jobs numbers. And then in January, when all the kids go back to school, you see those jobs disappear again. So we need a way of counting temporary employment versus full-time versus versus part-time that's permanent. So you may have someone who has kids in school who works 20, 30 hours a week, but that's a permanent job. Separate that from full-time permanent employment and seasonal jobs, because seasonal jobs are just that. They're temporary. Yep. It's 2 months of the summer and maybe a month in the right around Christmas.
Yep. It's amazing. This just lends itself to people having less confidence in the government, less confidence the government's telling the truth. Now, also, this could be only stats that geeks like me and you care about. I'm not sure the person struggling to pay their home, mortgage or a car payment's worried about the government overstating jobs. But for people that really pay attention, this is a big deal. It just shows that the government, again, is inflating numbers to their benefit.
Well, you manipulate numbers.
Yep.
If you give me the
exactly
number,
what it looks like happen.
I can spend a number any way you want. If you say jobs are on the increase, I say, oh, but they're part time. I can spin that and say and write the story for whoever, and write the story that says full-time employment down, workers forced to go part-time, just like they did when Trump was in office. Was saying, oh, the jobs he's created, they're all part-time, and people having to work 2 and 3 part-time jobs just to make ends meet. So that sort of stuff, you give me the stats, and if you tell me a goal of which way you want me to manipulate the data, well, we can do that. We can come up with a story that says, hey, the jobs market looks great. Look at all the jobs we added. Or I can manipulate it to say, well, most of the jobs are part-time, and look why it looks the same way is you have one person who holds 3 part-time jobs, and that person counts as 3 in the numbers, has 3 jobs created.
Yep.
But this is outright lying. I don't know how long they thought they could keep this under wraps. Did they really think they could get all the way to November with this?
Yeah, especially when economists started seeing it and questioning it. Most economists are probably lefties anyway, so yeah.
Well, the magazine is.
Yes.
So we have 2 sad stories. Sinking of a super yacht.
Yeah, this was the weirdest story. So this is this story about the British tech entrepreneur Mike Lynch. He had this super yacht off the coast, I think, of Italy, the Sicilian port of Porticello. It sounded like and there were 22 passengers and crew members were on board. It sounded like this boat rapidly sank last week after a pop-up tornado came. So this tornado kind of pops up on the ocean. They said the boat may have not been locked down and, water came all in it, but it capsized. And it sounds like they've recovered everybody at this point except his 18-year-old daughter, Hannah. But yeah, this was a weird story. Which is
very sad. This is a sailing yacht. Of course, it probably has a couple diesels in it. It's 184 feet long.
I know, huge yacht. Yeah, these things are not supposed to capsize.
Yeah, from water level up to the top of the mast, 237 feet.
Jeez.
Yeah, I could win the lottery and never be able to buy this.
No, big boat. Now, I thought what was so strange about this story, now this is the conspiracy part of me. These guys, so this tech entrepreneur, Mike Lynch, and his, they were co-defendants in a trial against the U.S. government. And they actually were found innocent a couple weeks ago. And they were actually on this, Mike was on this boat celebrating with his family and his lawyer and some other people. His business partner actually got run over or hit by a car in England last Saturday and died. So within literally 2 to 3 weeks after losing his court case to the U.S. government, his partner dies, gets hit by a car and dies, and now this guy, yacht turns over. I mean, just kind of coincidence to that for both of these guys to die a couple of weeks after beating the U.S. government. And look, the U.S. government never loses in these type of trials. I mean, what do they have? Like a 99.7%, I think it is, win rate when they bring a federal court case against somebody.
Right. And I like to say, on the state level, you can indict a ham sandwich. The feds do not do that. If you get indicted by the feds,
not at all. No,
you get indicted by the feds, they fully expect to win.
Yeah, so that's my little conspiracy.
They care about batting average.
Yes, that's my little conspiracy that it's kind of weird that both these guys died within within the same week.
Well, I don't know if we know if it capsized. I know it went down fast. The mast broke.
Yes, it did. The mast broke, and it just kind of tilted on its side, and it went down, and the people inside just got trapped and couldn't get out.
Yeah, this thing had 6 staterooms.
Yep.
10 crew, 12 guests.
Oh, it's huge.
I mean, it's a giant vessel. I mean, I wouldn't call it a ship, but as far as super yachts go, 184 feet is that's a big boat.
Yeah, it's over half of a football field. I mean, it's
not big. Just that. I mean, if you took 100 feet off of it, it would still be a giant vessel.
Yes,
an 84-foot pleasure boat. That's a big boat.
But yeah, I mean, look at a football field and say this thing was to the goal line to the 40-yard line on the other side of the 50.
Yeah, bow to stern.
Yeah, that's a big boat.
And they likely had no idea what was going on. They're probably holding on for dear life.
No, because this storm sounded like just popped up and the tornado dropped down. And it was a crazy, crazy story.
I mean, I feel for the family. Look, especially the young lady, 18 years old, celebrating on her father's yacht.
Yep.
In one of the most, from what I understand, I've never been to Sicily, one of the most beautiful places on earth.
Oh, I can't imagine.
I have been to the Mediterranean, so the Med is beautiful. And you're having the time of your life. Everything's coming up aces, and a freak storm. And look, they've got it on video. They've got it on CCTV.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it goes down in a hurry, and you just don't think about that. And I saw a story I shared on Facebook today about having emergency beacons on you. It was about a group of guys that were out fishing. They were 30 miles off Mississippi, and it was what we call sporting. It was 4 and 5 foot chop. You call it sporting. It kind of
4 to 5
sucks.
foot's
You get knocked
pretty rough.
around.
Yeah.
And they were on a decent sized boat for what I would consider a decent sized boat. I was 30ish, but yeah, that story came out as we record. At least I found the interviews with it as we record, and it's about safety gear and having an emergency beacon so that the Coast Guard can find you. This, of course, would have helped these folks, but it's how fast things can go bad in big water.
Yep.
Because the ocean is unforgiving. So this one hits close to home.
Yeah,
so sorry.
Way. No, you're fine. Up your way.
Yeah, Paulding County deputy was killed. He was responding to a domestic. Pulled up, got the door open, and I can't remember if he actually got all the way out or what, and old dude just lit him up. The abuser lit him up.
Jeez.
As we record, the funeral is today, and I can't make it because neurologist told me not to drive for a few days. Plus, it's going to be thousands of people there.
Yep.
So, this is the first time Gary has ever lost a deputy in the line of duty.
And this is Gary Gulledge, the outgoing sheriff of Paulding County. I mean, he's done with his term, I guess, pretty soon. How long did Gary serve as sheriff of Paulding County? How many years did he serve?
Oh, I can't remember. I know he's been with the sheriff's office since the mid-90s.
But this is the first time, actually, he lost a deputy, right? So very, very
well,
sad
actually,
situation.
is incoming.
Yep, incoming.
I think Gary was 2004 or something like that. I can't remember the exact year.
20 years, though. That's a long time to serve as sheriff.
And look, most of our sheriffs die in office.
Yeah, that does happen.
It's just the way it is, because as long as you don't completely screw up, people stay with the incumbent.
People love the sheriff, right?
Yeah, he's a guy everybody wants to shake his hand when he shows up to an event. Everybody loves the sheriff. It doesn't, for the most part, it doesn't matter. Well, except for Victor Hill, maybe not. He'll tie you to a chair.
And this guy, the deputy Brandon Cunningham, he was 30 years old. He died at the hospital. It sounded like Brandon had a couple young kids too and a wife, right? Is that the family situation there? So,
I think it's a fiance or something like that. But yeah, 2 young kids. I saw the procession from a couple days ago of transferring the body from the GBI to the funeral home.
Yep. And then a suspect who shot him, he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So thank goodness he ate the chicken crap way out and killed himself, so we don't have to deal with him. But Yeah, what a sad situation up your way. I was looking at Facebook, I guess, last Saturday night when stuff started coming out, and I saw, Jason Avatarte, a state senator, put the news online, and I know Joseph put some stuff online too. So I know everybody up there was really hurt by this.
That's just not something we have in this community.
No.
And I know times are changing, and I know every domestic is dangerous.
Yeah, right.
You never know where the threat's coming from in a domestic, and it could be the abuser. Sometimes it's the abusee who will come and get involved in it. So domestics are dangerous to begin with, but just to a hail of gunfire is what it was described as.
Yep, very sad.
The Navy may sideline 17 ships.
Yeah,
and
I thought
why
you would
is
like
that
story. Lack of qualified mariners to operate the vessels. So yeah, the Navy, they got 17 support ships that are going to be docked, it looks like, because they just can't find people to work. I can't imagine why that is. I can't imagine Navy not being able to recruit people at this point. I mean,
a lot of it is free college. They offer free college. I think so anyway.
I think you're right. I think that has a lot to do with it. Yeah.
And you're always in the Navy. You're always deployed. Well, largely, there obviously you have shore duty and all that stuff. But when you go on a float, you're gone for months, and it's very difficult to raise a family like that.
Yep,
you have to be married to a very strong person.
Part of it also. Yeah, I agree.
If you're in the Army, for the most part, especially now in peacetime Army, you're home, wherever home may be. It may be in the armpit of the world, like Fayetteville, North Carolina, where I was stationed at Fort Bragg.
But you're still at home most of the time. Yep. Even Columbus, Georgia. You're at Columbus for a good bit of the time. Yep.
So it's a tough service to do that. But I saw a while ago, we may have carried the story that they were going to allow GEDs. They're lowering the standards.
Okay.
And so at some point, I think they're going to start taking kids who are fat. As long as they can slim down enough to get up and down through portholes and all that stuff.
They're good. Sign me up.
This is a good time to remind you that these are our opinions, not those of anyone not on the show or any respective company for which we may work, own, or otherwise associate ourselves with on a regular or irregular basis. Also, you can find other episodes and relevant stories over at thegeorgiavirtue.com. The mule was a big story last week. The Secret Service has suspended several agents, including the agent in charge at Butler. Apparently, they had radios to issue to the local cops.
Really?
They were set aside, but nobody picked them up.
Nice.
So I've left the house and forgot my wallet. I've left the house and forgot to put my watch on or something like that. That's kind of important. Like, you may want a checklist on that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, all of it should be a checklist, right?
Yeah, it's a loadout. All right, what are we getting?
Yeah, hell, we do that at work. I mean, we have checklists for everything. And it's because you don't miss critical stuff like this.
Yeah, this is not something that they can go, oh, we forgot them, and run to Walmart, go pick up some little hand radios or anything. I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah, definitely.
There's so much so that there was time for the snipers to react. Now, could they have saved everybody? I don't know. But the call went out over local radio at least 17 seconds before, hey, this guy's on the roof. But that message never got to Secret Service. So those snipers never got that in their earpiece. The first thing they heard about a shooter was the round going off.
Now, I also saw this week or last week that one of the police officer's body cam that climbed up to the roof and saw the kid on top of the roof with a sniper rifle. I don't know if you saw this, but he climbs up to the roof. He sees the kid turn around and points the gun at him. He jumps down and starts running across the path there to try to call in and say, there's a shooter on the roof. I got it. He just took off running, but is that the best he could have done? I mean, you can't point. There's no other way to handle that situation. But again, I mean, if he had a radio, he would have called the radio to Secret Service right away and told them what he saw. But I thought that was
as a gun guy,
strange behavior.
I will say you cannot outdraw a drawn weapon.
Yeah, that's true.
No matter how fast he is to get his pistol out, there's no way he could off the guy. Now, maybe firing a shot or two would have gotten the attention. I don't know, but we don't use firearms to get people's attention. What goes up comes down.
Yeah, Secret Service might have shot him then if he just started firing his weapon.
He was in a no-win. He was in a no-win situation.
No, he was, but it was kind of, he jumped down and tore across the walkway trying to get somebody's attention, and he was just screaming, "Shooter, shooter!" on the roof. It was, this was a total cluster that happened here. So they definitely deserve to be the mule.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Georgia mayor arrested for supplying inmates alcohol. This one's cute.
Yeah, this was the mayor of Thompson, Georgia. I don't even know where Thompson, Georgia is. Do you?
No.
I'm going to look it up. So Thompson, Georgia is in McDuffie County. This is over around Augusta. So this is on I-20, about 20 miles before you get to Augusta. So this mayor, Benji Cranford, he's 52 years old. He's arrested on August 14th in charge of furnishing prohibited items to inmates and criminals with an attempt to commit a felony. It sounds like he went by the store, Rimpey store, and purchased a big bottle of Seagram's extra dry gin and then put the bottle in a ditch along Cobham Road in the path of prisoners. So why in the world would a mayor do this? Oh my goodness. This is just wild to me that he would go buy this bottle and then go by and do this. No, you're fine. No,
it's amazing to me that, first of all, anybody would think that's okay.
I know, exactly.
That's, first of all, I guess Seagram's gin. I don't care. I mean, I should say, like, there are better gins out there.
Yeah, but for the prisoners, this is probably good.
Well, yeah, it beats toilet wine, I'm sure.
But anyway, it's going to be interesting to see what happens to this mayor. He said he was not stepping down. He did nothing wrong, and he was going to fight these charges. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens to him.
He did nothing wrong. Look, maybe it was somebody who looked like him, but if they were able to track him, here's the bottle you bought, and here's the bottle where we found it. I mean, look, I get admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations. I mean, I imagine the inmate got caught. I believe they search these guys before they leave and before they come back onto the prison property.
I know.
I would think anyway. I mean, wouldn't that be the first thing you would do? Is I mean, look, a fifth of liquor is not going to fit anywhere you can sneak back into the prison that I know of.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
And look, I like prison details and all that stuff. I think it's a good way, especially to reward well-behaved inmates.
Yep.
Because look, everybody wants it's kind of embarrassing if you get charged with something and you'd have to do community service picking up trash on the side of the road. But if you're actually in prison, you get some sunshine, you get grass under your feet. Usually the guards are fairly polite and kind to them when they're out there doing it. Just don't do anything stupid.
I know.
It's the same thing with if you're at a jail and they make someone a trustee. That's a huge benefit because you get to leave the pod or whatever they call it. You get to be outside when like I said, I'll tell you at the Paulding County Jail, the only thing you're doing outside is it's a paved little area with a wall around it and striped with sunlight up top. I think it's a fence of some sort up top, so you can't climb out of it. Plus, you have to be Spider-Man to get up those walls.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll have to follow the story and give everybody an update later on.
All right, brother. Well, I think we're about to close it out. Do you have any closing thoughts?
No, just got some travel up ahead. I'm actually going to Portland, Maine next week, so glad to get in some cooler weather. But yeah, I know you got some travel too, so safe travels.
To you two, I've got to be in Detroit for a funeral. It's actually almost Ann Arbor, but flying into DTW. Big thanks to Eric Kamby, who takes this audio and turns it into something you can listen to. Ken Poland, my partner's endeavor. I'm Dave Roberts. We'll talk to you next week.
Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. Days been gone, a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon.